Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or The Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be going in-depth into my week number 10 wide receiver start or sit decisions. Inside today's video, I'll be breaking down every single matchup from Thursday Night Football all the way until Monday Night Football, and I'll be telling you guys whether I think you should start or sit the wide receivers in all of those games. But before we could get into things, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure you do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFNTSY. And if you have any questions, last thing, about week number 10, please make sure you ask down below in the comment section. I love talking to you guys down there, or in the Discord linked in the pinned comment and in the video description. So without further ado, let's get into my week number 10 wide receiver start or sit decisions. We begin with Thursday Night Football, the Atlanta Falcons at the Carolina Panthers. I know a lot of people are thinking this game is going to be incredibly boring because neither of these teams are very exciting, but the last time these two teams played, it was an incredibly exciting, back-and-forth, high-scoring affair that went to overtime, so my hope is that this one is just as interesting as the last time that these two teams faced a couple of weeks ago. In terms of the wide receiver position in this game, the only receiver that I'm actually somewhat comfortable playing is DJ Moore of the Carolina Panthers. Last week was a complete and utter dud out of DJ Moore. PJ Walker got benched. Baker Mayfield goes in. This week, the team did confirm that PJ Walker will be the starting quarterback. Last time these two teams played, DJ Moore went absolutely fucking nuclear. So if there was a game for him to bounce back, it would be this week up against a garbage Atlanta Falcons defense. For the Falcons, Drake London is an incredibly talented player. The issue is that he just does not see enough volume for me to be confident at all in starting him in fantasy football. Olamide Zaccheaus or Damiere Byrd will probably end up scoring a touchdown in this game. Which one will it be? Who fucking knows? So they're both going to be sits. In terms of the other Carolina Panthers players, Terrace Marshall Jr. in a deeper league is an interesting start. In most 10 or 12 team leagues, you probably won't want to play him, but if you are in a bit of a bye-pocalypse, there are 4 teams on bye this week that I talked about at the beginning of today's video that I do really think Terrace Marshall is a little bit interesting. He's had 2 back-to-back solid games, but in most situations you want to sit him. Shi Smith for the Carolina Panthers is also going to be a sit. Next up, we move to Munich, Germany. The Seattle Seahawks at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for those lovely morning games that everyone just loves on Sunday, right? Go out drinking Saturday night, come back on Sunday, hungover, have to wake up at the ass crack of dawn to set your fantasy lineups. Everyone loves this, right? Everyone loves it. So Seahawks at Buccaneers. Now, last year, it would be hard to believe that DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett could both have great games at the exact same time because Russell Wilson could, for some reason, never hone in on both of them at the same time. DK Metcalf would have an absolutely astonishing game, and then Tyler Lockett sitting in the corner like a cuck watching, cranking off in the corner, right? Or Lockett would have the great game, and then Metcalf isn't doing shit. But this year, under Geno Smith, we have seen both of them play relatively good in the exact same game. Now, the Buccaneers defense does appear to be slightly back. They are playing a lot better, but at the end of the day, I still trust DK Metcalf and Lockett to be start-worthy wide receivers in this spot. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mike Evans is a must-start wide receiver every single week. It seemed even when Tampa Bay Tom Brady was struggling mightily, that Mike Evans was still able to put up solid numbers. Now, Chris Godwin continues to see an ass load of targets. This guy's seeing so many targets every single game, and somehow, some way, he just has not performed. If there ever was going to be a game where he breaks out, it would be up against the Seahawks because the Seahawks defense is not very good at all. The other wide receivers, Russell Gage, Julio Jones, they're going to be sit. Same thing goes with D. Eskridge and friends in Seattle. Next up, we move to the real Sunday slate with the Minnesota Vikings at the Buffalo Bills. Now, I will note that this video is being recorded on Tuesday, and as I'm recording today's video, we have no information on what is going to happen with Josh Allen. Is Josh Allen going to be able to play this week? Right now, it seems in jeopardy, and if that injury is incredibly serious based upon what I've read, now I'm as much of a doctor as fucking Johnny Sins, but what I have read tells me that if this injury is very serious, that he will be out for the whole season. Without Josh Allen, how confident can you be in playing Stephon Diggs? I'm fine playing Stephon Diggs, but Gabe Davis relies heavily on the deep fucking bomb, the step back 3 that Josh Allen can fire his way 60 yards down the field to score a touchdown. Without Josh Allen, there's no way that's going to happen. So this is a situation to monitor all week long. Right now, it seems pretty iffy on if we end up seeing Josh Allen play on Sunday or not. I will note that the lines that Vegas releases have not moved very much on this game so far. Things could obviously change by Sunday, but the books aren't adjusting too much, which makes me think that the sports books believe that we end up seeing Josh Allen on Sunday. So as of right now, both Diggs and Davis are listed as starts. If Josh Allen can't play, Gabe Davis is a sit, and Stephon Diggs you could still play. Justin Jefferson is a must-start wide receiver every single week. Had a great game last week. We obviously saw Kirk Cousins after the game go on the flight home wearing all the chains. People are calling him Perk Cousins is what I called him. I thought it was incredibly funny. The guy was hitting the fucking dance. It was amazing. Great to see. Kirk Cousins is very funny. Justin Jefferson's a must-start receiver every single week. Adam Thielen continues to get the targets, but he's not really producing well enough for me to feel comfortable starting him, especially against the Bills. In terms of the other wide receivers in this game, Isaiah McKenzie, if Josh Allen starts, you could talk yourself into starting him, but he's not really safe at all. KJ Osborne has been a fucking dud this season. Next up, we move to the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears, and Justin Fields looks flat out fucking amazing. This guy looks amazing. He took my Dolphins defense and carved him up like his name was Jeffrey goddamn Dahmer. It was hard to watch. The way this guy exploded into our defense, the rushing ability is insane. Darnell Mooney's looked a lot better. Darnell Mooney looked great in that game. I will tell you that while Darnell Mooney is listed as a start because the Lions defense is straight up Swiss cheese, I am not super confident in saying that Darnell Mooney is like some must-start player, because at the end of the day, Justin Fields really succeeds from running the ball, and I'm not too sure, unless Darnell Mooney really scores, it's hard to see Darnell Mooney having a good day in fantasy football, but the Lions defense is so bad that it makes that much more possible, so he's listed as a start. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a guy that I'm going to continue to bang the table for aggressively. He's had back-to-back games in half PPR as the wide receiver 29, so nothing really special, but this week he does face off up against the Bears, who lost their two best defensive players. I really do think Amon-Ra St. Brown should have a bounce-back game here, and even if he finishes as like wide receiver 24 on the week, I'm still going to keep telling you guys to start him because of how talented the guy is. And his two bad games were one where, the Lions just shit the bed, and in the other one, the Lions shit the bed. So I'm still pretty comfortable saying that I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. For the other receivers here, Chase Claypool, it is probably very helpful for Justin Fields that Claypool's there, but he doesn't really move the needle in terms of fantasy football. Equanimeous St. Brown dropped a crucial catch at the end of that game. You're not starting him. Then the Lions have Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond. I mean, if you have the balls to start any of these guys, maybe you can in a deeper league, but at the end of the day, these aren't normal starts. Next up, we move to the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Kansas City Chiefs, and Juju Smith-Schuster has elevated himself into must-start category. Juju Smith-Schuster has been taking dumps on defenses over the last couple of games. Juju Smith-Schuster has turned everything around. His career reached this peak so early on, and then ever since those great first couple of seasons, it's been a downfall. But now in Kansas City, the guy has arisen yet again. The guy has been playing amazing. He looked great last week in that prime time spot up against the Les Titans, the Tennessee Titans. This guy has been nothing short of incredible, and I need to start giving this guy a lot more praises because he really does deserve to be in the top 12 wide receiver discussion for fantasy football. I did not like Juju going into the year. I am so wrong on that. Juju has been great over the last couple of weeks. McCole Hardman has also been putting up some solid numbers in back-to-back games. He is a guy that I'm willing to start, but we all know deep down that this guy's very boom or bust, right? He could easily score 20 points against the Jaguars, but also, if some things go a little bit wrong, he drops one of those deep balls, he scores like 3 fucking fantasy points, right? But based upon what we've seen recently, you got to start him. Christian Kirk is going to be listed as a start as well. Had a pretty solid game last week in that matchup for the Jaguars. The Chiefs' defense isn't necessarily world beaters. I think they're a little bit better than people give them credit for. Lawrence has looked so-so. Like, it's weird because some weeks Lawrence really looks like, oh, that's why they fucking drafted him number 1 overall. And there's other games like, wow, is this guy a bust or something? I guess that's just what happens when you're the quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Zay Jones gets a lot of targets, so if you're in a deeper league, you can start him, but ultimately he's a sit. Same thing goes with Marvin Jones Jr., MVS, Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney did really good with the chances he got, but it doesn't seem like they want to just thrust Kadarius Toney into a lot of opportunity early on, but he could end up being a league winner like 2-3 weeks from now and being a big target for them. So, and then we also talk about MVS. MVS was a guy I really loved all offseason. I thought, oh, maybe he could be the number one receiver in Kansas City. Obviously, the number one receiver is Kelsey, and the number two is Juju. So, you just got to eat your L's sometimes. Next up, we move to the Cleveland Browns at the Miami Dolphins. But before we go in depth into this game in terms of the wide receiver position, I would like to give you guys a quick word from our friends and our sponsor over at DraftKings Sportsbook. If you are a brand new user to DraftKings Sportsbook and you click on the link in the video description or in the pinned comment, you will receive an amazing offer. If you bet $5 on any pregame money line, could be in the NBA, the NFL, obviously you're watching an NFL video, the NHL, PGA. I don't know if golf's happening right now. I'm not much of a golf guy, or college football. And if your bet wins, you'll receive $200 in free bets on DraftKings Sportsbook by just clicking on the link in the video description if you are a new user onto DraftKings Sportsbook. And since your bet has to win, I think what you should do is bet on a sport where the favorites are more likely to win. For instance, in college football, we have Tennessee going up against Missouri. Tennessee should absolutely steamroll Missouri. So you could take Tennessee, or you could take Michigan up against Nebraska. I like Michigan and Tennessee the most. I think, obviously, anything could happen on Saturday, right? One of these teams could end up getting blown out, right? Anything could happen. But at the end of the day, those are the two picks I'm most comfortable with you guys taking. And again, if you bet $5 on that, you will get $200 in free bets if that bet wins. So make sure you guys do check that out. Link in the video description and in the pinned comment. It's hard to get free money from sportsbooks, and they're giving it out to you right now. So make sure you check it out. And the offer is not going to last forever. It's going to disappear relatively soon. So make sure you guys take advantage of it before it disappears. Next up, we got the Browns, like I said, at the Miami Dolphins. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are the number one duo at the wide receiver position in the NFL. And if you don't think so, you are fucking crazy. Tyreek Hill is just amazing. It's amazing. He is on track to beat Megatron, Calvin Johnson's single season receiving record that Cooper Kupp almost beat last year. Tyreek Hill, even when Bridgewater or even when Skylar Thompson was in, has been dominating. You could genuinely make the argument that Tyreek Hill should be the MVP. I know, Nick, the MVP is a quarterback award. I know it is. But, if there ever was a receiver to win, it would be Tyreek Hill, man. Fantastic. And this is not to make fun of Jalen Waddle, because Jalen Waddle has also been amazing. Jalen Waddle scoring a bunch of touchdowns. The Browns' defense is all right, but I really think Tyreek Hill should be the number one ranked receiver this week. And Jalen Waddle, you could also consider him to potentially be a top 5 receiver in this game. Amari Cooper has had some down games, but as a whole, Amari Cooper has been great for this Browns team all season long. And like I stated earlier, Justin Fields carved up the Miami Dolphins defense like the goddamn Thanksgiving turkey, so I fully expect Amari Cooper to have a very solid showing here. We got a Jacoby Brissett revenge game. I'm going to be sitting down DPJ. If you are in a deeper league, he's one of those more interesting guys that you could start. David Bell has been a dud this season. He's a rookie, so I'm not telling you guys that he's just fucked, right? He's never going to do anything. But as of right now, I'm sitting him down. Trent Sherfield is the number 3. The Dolphins pay all this money for Cedric Wilson, and Cedric Wilson's just doing nothing. And by doing nothing, I mean he returns punts sometimes. So congrats to Cedric Wilson. You're getting paid a bag. Must be nice, but it sucks as a Dolphins fan to have paid all that money for him. Next up, we move to the Houston Texans at the New York Jumbo Giants, the football Giants. We got the Jumbo Jets who are on bye this week, but let's be honest here. Let's keep things short. This game fucking reeks at the wide receiver position. I sniffed because you can smell it straight through the screen. It reeks. Brandon Cooks probably just wants out of this team. Like, he tweeted after they didn't trade him, like, it was some fucking, it was like this, if I was to decipher what he said, now he basically said, the Texans just bent me over the table and fucked me without lube. I wanted to be traded, basically is what he said. It's like this long, basically every single, I don't know how many characters are in a tweet. I'm a avid Twitter user, a chronic Twitter user, but I don't know exactly the numbers, but he used all of them to say basically, fuck you, Houston. You should have traded me, you cocksuckers, basically is what he said. Yep, it is what it is. I don't think Brandon Cooks is going to play this game. If he does, more power to him, but I don't want to start him. I'm sitting him, sitting Chris Moore, sitting Philip Dorsett. Dorsett had a pretty good game last week, but don't really want to play them. Wan'Dale Robinson's look good. The Texans defense is ass, but do I really want to play him or Darius Slayton or Davis Sills? Kenny Golladay might be back. This game is just a disaster at the wide receiver position. Next up, we got the New Orleans Saints at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Chris Olave didn't have all that great of a performance last night on Monday Night Football up against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, but ultimately Chris Olave is one of the better receivers, in my opinion, out of this rookie class. The Steelers defense has not been the best ever since TJ Watt has been gone. I fully expect Chris Olave to have a bounce back spot here. I do have to think, though, that after that Andy Dalton experience we all had to watch on Monday Night Football, that the team would let Jameis be the guy, Mr. Famous Jameis eat a W. At least I fucking hope so, because I don't want to watch the Red Rifle, the Red Rocket anymore. George Pickens is listed as a start. Some people will say that Johnson's better than Pickens. Johnson gets a lot of targets. He just doesn't do shit with them. Kenny Pickett loves throwing to George Pickens. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm starting George Pickens and sitting Deontay Johnson. For the other Saints, Michael Thomas out for the season. Yikes. They have Jarvis, who was thought to have came back last night and then didn't. They got Traquan Smith. Outside of Pickens and Olave, this game, I guess Johnson too, like if you're in a deeper league, you can start him. It kind of just reeks at the receiver position. Next up, we got the Broncos at the Le Titans. And speaking of reeking at the wide receiver position, I don't think, and I'm like 99% sure, that the Titans on Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs did not have, none of the receivers had a single fucking catch. What the hell? Now I know, but Nick, Ryan Tannehill wasn't playing. At the end of the day, sure, Ryan Tannehill wasn't playing, but these wide receivers are basically fucking McDonald's employees as far as I'm concerned. They're not getting any targets. They're all fucking ass. Robert Woods is over the hump. So Woods, Ikain, Cody Hollister, they're all fucking sits for me. They're all sits. Doesn't matter if it's Malik Willis or Tannehill. I don't give a fuck. For the Broncos country, let's ride. I mean, the Broncos defense is legit, so you don't want to start them. Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton are starts. They kind of keep flip-flopping on who the guy is in the offense. Russell Wilson did look pretty good last time out there on bye last week. I mean, they're both starts, but they are bottom of the barrel starts. KJ Hamler is a sit. Next up, we move to the Indianapolis Colts at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders. The fucking Raiders, man. How many times in a row are the Raiders? If I was a Raiders fan, I don't know how I would do it, man. It seems like all the time they're just beating down on a team. Fucking haymaker after haymaker, elbow after elbow, UFC style. And then, bam, out of nowhere, the other team just comes back. And it must just be crazy to watch as a Raiders fan. I don't bet on the Raiders strictly because every game it's like, oh my God, they're going to win. And then they just fucking lose. Devontae Adams goes nuclear in the first half. And in the second half, he's nowhere to be found. It's like Derek Carr doesn't know what he's doing. Derek Carr has been a disaster. Josh McDaniels' ass has to be on the hot seat. Josh McDaniels might get fired. Speaking of getting fired, Frank Reich is out. They bring in Jeff Saturday, and all these people are like, oh my God, why didn't the Colts bring in a better head coach? You want to know why they brought in Jeff Saturday? To fucking tank. To tank, because this team is down in the ditch. Devontae Adams is a start. Obviously, you start him every single week, even if Derek Carr looks like Stevie Wonder in the pocket half the time. Michael Pittman is a start, but he's like one of those bottom of the barrel guys too, because Sam Ehlinger is bad. And look, if they weren't playing the Raiders, I'd say they're going to get railed by like 27 points, but, you know, the Raiders are the Raiders, and maybe Jeff Saturday squeaks one out here, but Michael Pittman Jr., no bueno. Alec Pierce, Paris Campbell, Perry Campbell, both sits. Hunter Renfrow, this guy, what the hell is this, man? All offseason, I'm like, oh, look how good Renfrow was last year. He's going to just do the same thing this year, right? They bring in McDaniels, better team. This is going to be great. Been the opposite of great. You should probably just cut him. Mac Hollins has shown up at points this season, but he's not a start-worthy guy. Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys at the Green Bay Packers. Allen Lazard, despite the fact that the Lions beat the Packers and that the Packers looked bad and Aaron Rodgers looked like he was seeing fucking ghosts out there, Sam Darnold style, Allen Lazard still had a good game. Romeo Dubes is hurt now for what feels like maybe the rest of the season. I don't know yet, but man, oh man. They've got Samurai Tory. They've got Sammy Watkins. They got to throw the ball to someone, and that someone's Allen Lazard. For the Cowboys, there's a lot of talk about, Jerry Jones. I wish I could talk like Jerry Jones, but he kind of just sounds like an old guy. This is my Bill Clinton, so it's not really Jerry Jones. But I did not have sexual relations with that woman. You know, so maybe that wasn't a good one. I don't know, but I think that's kind of funny. But CeeDee Lamb is a must-start, obviously. Dak Prescott is back. They're coming out the bye. The Packers are bad. Let's go CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gallup, he's a sit. So is Noah Brown. Maybe the boy Odell is coming to town. Sammy Watkins, Samurai Torre, both sits. Next up, we got the Arizona Cardinals at the LA Rams. DeAndre Hopkins continues to look great. Cliff Kingsbury has to also be on the hot seat. Like, how many games can Cliff kind of like fuck everything up? Like, it seems like Kyler must just hate Cliff at this point. Like, Kyler isn't playing bad, but like, there's just something off here. Like, I don't understand the thought process of hiring Cliff either, because like, this guy couldn't really make Patrick Mahomes amazing, like, at Texas Tech. So why is he an NFL head coach? I don't know. With that said, though, D-Hops must start, even if Cliff Kingsbury is trying to fuck everything up. Rondell Moore's also a guy I want to start, not must start necessarily up against the Rams, but I'm still confident in playing him. He's looked really good. Outside of a game a couple of weeks ago, he's been really good. Cooper Kupp's must start. Obviously, you fucking close your eyes, bird box style, you throw him in your lineup. The guy was banged up going into last game and still went absolutely fucking banana lands up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A fantastic performance out of him. Van Jefferson has 5 targets. I think it's around 5 targets. Doesn't do anything with them. Al Robinson, bust. You sit him. Robbie Anderson gets traded to the Cardinals, and I know there were people that were like, oh my god, I'm so excited for fucking, oh my gosh, Robbie Anderson, he's gonna be so great. And I talked about in the waiver video that week that the guy was fool's gold, and he hasn't done anything. Hilarious. Next up, we move to Sunday Night Football. The LA Chargers at the San Francisco 49ers. Debo was banged up, missed last time they played. They're on bye last week. The Chargers defense is dog shit. So if Debo plays, you're playing him. Brandon Ayuk, you're playing him as well. Does kind of hurt that Christian McCaffrey's probably going to score 3 touchdowns in this game. Obviously, that's an exaggeration, but you're still going to have to go with Ayuk. Joshua Palmer is a start as well. Keenan Allen just hurts, man. It just hurts every week. It's like, oh, Keenan Allen's going to come back, and he never comes back, man. He never comes back. Joshua Palmer played well last week, so I got to give him credit, right, against the Falcons, though this is a different beast in the 49ers defense, but I'm still going to play him. DeAndre Carter's also an interesting kind of fill-in if you're dealing with some bye week or injuries. Keenan Allen, if he plays, I don't even think I want to play him, to be honest with you. I don't trust him at all. Juwan Jennings is a sit for the 49ers. Final game here, we got Monday Night Football. The Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles. Terry McLaurin had a down game last week up against the Minnesota Vikings, but I still like him much better with Taylor Heineke compared to Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz made watching football with the Commanders dreadful. It was it was just embarrassing. Like, those first 2 games were great, but after that, man, it was so bad. Now McLaurin gets Heineke. I know he had 1 down game last week, but overall, he's been much better with Heineke, so you're just going to keep rolling him out, even up against a stout Eagles defense. Curtis Samuel's kind of just like wide receiver 34 through 28 every week, like one of those guys. Not a guy that's must start, but a guy that in most situations you want in your lineup. A.J. Brown's must start as well. The guy's been fantastic. He's going to have some down games, right, when Jalen Hurts runs in 2 touchdowns or Devontae Smith has a great game, but at the end of the day, there's no way you're benching him. Devontae Smith, obviously what we just talked about with A.J. Brown's the case with Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown might score 3 touchdowns, and you're kind of left out to dry. Jalen Hurts could run in a couple touchdowns. Miles Sanders could score, but at the end of the day, Devontae Smith's upside is so immense up against a Commanders defense that I'll give them credit. They've looked a little bit better recently. I'm not sure if Dotson's going to play. Even if he does, he's a sit up against the Eagles defense. And then for Quez Watkins, he is going to be a sit for me. He has had some solid showings. His best showing was up against the Minnesota Vikings in primetime. So maybe we have another primetime great game out of Watkins, but if I'm being honest with you, I doubt it. So thank you guys all so much for watching. If you ended up enjoying, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, as well as hitting that like button. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter, at NotoriousFNTSY. It's been on the screen the whole entire time. Also, make sure you check out that DraftKings bet. $5. Win $200 of free bets if your bet hits. Link in the video description and the pinned comment. I love you guys all so much. Hope you have a great rest of your guys' day. And as always, good boy!